Hello, everyone. My name is Davon Rees, and I'm your host. I come to you on the 5th and the 28th of each month. And the reason why, because my birthday is 5/28. So those are my favorite numbers. So I figure I come to you on the 5th and 28th of each month to give you well, I guess like a podcast talk show, and then I also send newsletters. So make sure that you are signed up and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you won't miss it. So today I have a special guest. I have a really good friend of mine. We've been knowing each other probably for over, I don't know what, 15 years, 10 years, I don't know, 10 years. I don't know. I lost track. But we've been knowing each other for a long time. We met each other in Under 30 Gateway, which is my introduction to hotel ownership. And Tommy, he was a superstar then, like he's a superstar now. I think when I met him, he was the chair of Under 30 Gateway, which is part of the American Hotel Lodging Association. And he was like the youngest, like general manager. He's like in all this news. Like he was general manager before he's 30. I was like, oh my gosh, he's like, this is like so cool and awesome. And then he went to corporate. I mean, he was just moving his way up. And then he was like vice president of a management company, and now he is with a REIT, and he has his own consulting firm called B Hospitality. And he was our asset managers on our hotels, two in Indiana, one in Oklahoma. And we had our first sale, and Tommy was first on the portfolio, and Tommy was very instrumental in turning the hotel around because we were losing money and we weren't able to really distribute what we wanted to our investors and to our ownership group. And Tommy came in, he cleaned it up, he helped change the culture, he brought in a new management company. And so without further ado, Tommy, woo, I need that little siren thing. Make it, make a whole thing. I see you on brand, Tommy.
Yeah, the voices for the mouth noises work fine too. So hey, look, always good to be with you. Appreciate you having me today. Excited to talk hotels. I told somebody the other day, it's like all I know is hotels. I eat, sleep, and breathe hotels. If you ask me anything else, I may look at you with a blank stare. I just don't. I just
Well,
know
you know
hotels.
what? I'm shifting, since with Vester is I don't eat, breathe, and sleep hotels like you do. That's why I just when folks are like, Devon, I need help. I'm like, I'm sending you to Tommy because my brain is like thinking, okay, how can we get Vester to become $1 billion? Like that's literally where my brain is. So I'm glad that you eat and sleep and breathe hotels. So can you walk us through how you were able, well, because you're an asset manager, right? So can you explain what an asset manager is? Because a lot of people don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a good question. So an asset manager is really something like an owner's representative. So asset manager sits between either if the hotel is a management company, they'll sit between the management company and the owner, or they'll sit between the general manager and the owner if the hotel does not have a management company. And from a practical perspective, an asset manager is really just looking out for the owner's best interest. So their job and my job is to make sure the hotel is making as much money as it can, not only on the top line, but also on the bottom line. So we're controlling expenses, we're pushing revenue, and we're also looking at if it's a branded hotel, we're making sure it's in line with all the brand standards. We're making sure it's keeping up with all if it has a loan, it's keeping up with all the mortgage covenants and things like that. If there's capital needs, right, we're making sure that the hotel is being spent, the owner spending money wisely. So I'm an owner's advocate, and it goes both ways, right? A good asset manager is going to provide support to the property and not come in kind of like a hammer, right? The idea is to be a resource for them, but also to point out to the owner, like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. These are the issues. This is how we need to, sort of solve for some of these problems that I'm experiencing. So, but again, I'm there to save the owner money, save them time, right? Because a lot of owners don't have time, and a lot of owners don't know the industry. And even if they know the industry, they're probably busy with 16 other businesses or jobs or
Right.
something.
Yeah, it's not their focus. Yeah. And so you came in with our hotels. I gotta bring Mike on so we could talk about it. Mike Ely. So shout out to Mike. So with the hotels, you basically came in, you helped bring a new management company. We were using Commonwealth in the beginning, and you came in, helped bring in Milestone. So shout out to Milestone. And you helped change by bringing in Milestone to help change the culture. And a lot of people don't realize in hotels, it's still a people business, right? I don't think AI is going to take away that too much. I know I've seen some instances where like I think I saw where you can like check in a hotel and it was somebody from India checking you in like remotely. I don't know how hard that's going. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to completely remove people. I'm not saying it's definitely going to be a start, but I don't think it's going to remove people. It's still a people business, right? And the biggest thing is the culture. You know, both you and I, we got our start working in the front desk. Well, working at the front desk, we're working in operations. And so, you know, that culture, you know, feeling like you're appreciated, feeling like you're, you know, your general manager, your manager, and, you know, if you know your owner, feel like that you're appreciated by your owner. You know, you did a really good job helping us find a management company to change the culture. And I noticed once the culture started to change, our revenues and our bottom line started to change, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, talking about management companies and property leadership for a second. Management companies are important to the extent that they provide support to the hotels where they need it. And to your point, like it or not, each management company has a different culture, right? Some companies are really good at driving strong bottom lines, and they cut to get there. Some management companies drive top line really hard and aren't as good as bottom line. Some are really good at giving you this family feel. But ultimately, and I say this working, I used to work for a management company and I've worked for a bunch of different ones and I've seen a lot of different, good and bad companies out there. A lot of it's going to boil down to the property leadership, right? You've got to make sure you have the right general manager and director of sales,
Mm-hmm.
executive team in place.
Yeah.
Because even the best management company, so you have like a really great management company, the best one out there, whoever it is, and you have a bad GM, the hotel is going to run poorly. The
Mm-hmm.
management can't solve for that. What they can do, bring in somebody else on their team, and a good management company have a deeper team that can jump in and fix things. So, but yeah, it's important.
So that is a really good point, and I'm glad that we're talking about this because I noticed, you know, when I would visit the properties, you know, I would ask them, you know, how they're doing, and I would ask them what are their next steps, and you know, they're like, the owner is talking to me, like this is crazy, right? And but I know from starting at the front desk that would have been, you know, huge if the owner would have sat down and you know asked me how my day was going, or you know asked me what my next steps. You know, of course that the hotel I worked at the time was the Hyatt Regency Atlanta, so I can understand the Prisker family, you know, was on that by the Hyatt or the Prisker family at the time, so I could see if they wouldn't, you know, ask a front desk agent. So I kind of understand that. But the point that we're trying to make is the culture, and just making sure that the employee, because when you take care of the employee will take care of you, right? Another thing that you did, your attention to detail was just immaculate, right? Like I'm not good at that. That's your job. I'm like, look, that's Tommy. My brain, I'm like a big vision, big picture. I've learned that about myself. Anything dealing with the minor details is going to get missed. Sorry. But Tommy, you are amazing at paying attention to the most minute detail, but that can generate thousands of dollars a month to our hotels, right? You know, or paying attention to detail from the P&L, cash flow, balance sheet, statement. You know, you came in and were just auditing like crazy, and was able to, you know, save us a lot of money, which in result brought money down to the bottom line. And I've referred you to other hotel owners, and you know, or existing hotel owners, and they're pretty much saying the same thing. how you were able to come in, like, I mean, you just hit the ground running, right? You hit the ground running and you were able to save the money. And the most important thing, find money. Like, you were paying pretty much for yourself by coming in and bringing revenue, because you have a unique, experience from working in a management company, working in a hotel, working on the transactional side. And you and I, we help create probably what, no, we work for a one on a deal, where help create a hotel owner, right? So just having that unique experience. So definitely just want to give a shout out to Tommy. So if anyone is looking to buy a hotel and they don't know what they're doing, they don't know how to analyze, because that's Tommy's, I call him a human calculator. He laughs at me, but he really is. He's really good with numbers. And if you really want to understand how to put the deal together, I definitely recommend Tommy. If you have a hotel and you're struggling, meaning you just don't know what to do, you don't know you don't know where additional revenue is coming in, you don't know how to, mitigate expenses, like you just have no idea what you're doing, and you can't, and sometimes you just can't chat GPT your way out of things. Okay. So I'm sorry, chat GPT is not the answer to all things. Okay. So I'm giving out Tommy a shout out right now. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think you're right. First of all, I'm not really good at, patting myself on the back, but um,
Sorry,
if there's a
I'm
lot
a
of,
hype girl. That's what I do.
no, I appreciate that. Though there are a lot of other asset management firms out there, and I see them sort of full of people that are CPAs, or maybe they went to Cornell or whatever. And I did some coursework at Cornell. I'm not knocking the school. It's obviously, one of the best out there, if not the best. But the point is, a lot of those folks haven't spent much time in a hotel. Maybe they did an internship or something, but that's about it. And some may have never worked at a hotel.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so to your point, I come at it from a different angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's, working the front desk for years and listening to the guest, or delivering 4-star guest experience as a valet and bellman, or
Mm-hmm.
being a general
I about to say
manager.
being a general manager was a
Yeah.
big help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and being like an award-winning general manager on the state and national level, and all these different things.
That's,
And
you better pop your collar, Tom Dyer. That's right.
but
Award
like,
winning. Okay.
but or working, like one of the first owners I worked for was a publicly traded REIT that had $3 billion in market cap, right? So, and they had asset managers that were really smart people. But those asset managers, a lot of them hadn't worked in a hotel either, right? So I can look at a P&L really quickly in a star report and tell you if you're doing a good job, or if you've got opportunity, or can I add value. But also, to your point, I if I in every single instance am going to pay for myself and then some, whether that's in real dollars in your pocket, or a combination of dollars back to you,
Mm-hmm.
and time saving, right? I mean, everybody's time is worth something different, but it's all valuable. So yeah, I had an owner tell me the other day, she's like, "Oh, you will leave over my dead body. You are not going to leave my hotel." And I was just joking with her, but yeah, they're just really happy.
The feeling. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you do a good job. You do a good, and you're so responsive, right? But like I said, I referred you to a lot of folks. No, two deals. Now I think about it, we got the development deal in Tucson. So I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to be at that grand opening. So that's exciting, and it's a development project. So just that unique experience, right? I think, working with, first timers, or folks who have, and you even can work with people who have multiple hotels. To your point, with Mike and I being so busy, we didn't have time to come in to do what you did. And so, we appreciate, I know Mike appreciates you. I appreciate you for coming in, because this business is all about relationships, right? You and I, we work together, part of Under 30 Gateway. We stayed in contact with you by you being at Newport. And of course we gotten closer, by working on the hotels together. And Now let's talk about our recent transaction, the one that we just sold, the Indiana properties, right? I think we paid what 17.8, 17.9. We recently sold it. We sold the Stay Bridge first, and then we sold the Hampton Inn second. We generated about what 12% IRR. We're a little below what we projected, but it wasn't bad. But the good news is that we were was able to um, generate a profit and at least get our investors their principal back. I think that's probably the most important thing because not all deals are guaranteed, right? But you were able to turn it around where we could at least get our principal back plus a return to our investors. So you want to walk us through maybe a mini case study on those properties?
Yeah, I'd say, when I got involved, things were a little messy, right? There was we had a PIP we needed to finish on one hotel that was a PIP, in case you,
Explain what a PIP is.
yeah,
Somebody
that's
may
a
not
property improvement plan. It's or some people say product improvement plan. It's the same as a renovation, but it's brand mandated, right? So when you buy a hotel, there's what's called a change of ownership PIP, and the brand will tell you have to get it done in a certain time frame, whether that's a year, 2 years, 3 years. Well, in this case, this hotel was 3 years past due, and the brand was very upset with that. And what the brand can do is they can put you in what's called default. So you're in default of your franchise agreement. And at some point, they can pull your flag. So let's say you were a Hampton Inn, and if you don't cure the default, you're no longer a Hampton Inn. So the value of your
I've seen the
property,
Super 9 before.
yeah, yeah.
I've
I
seen
mean,
I've seen the East Western before.
yeah.
I was like, well, somebody was in default.
Yeah, you're the Davon Inn now, right? And as much as we love you, Davon Inn is not worth what a Hampton Inn is worth,
No,
right?
it's not. Right.
Uh, so we had to solve for that. Um, the lender was unhappy, right? There was a bunch of issues going on with the lender, and add to it, the properties weren't cash flowing, so we were getting behind on payables.
Y'all, he just telling all our business.
It was it was a mess,
Look,
right?
I asked for it. I said, hey, a little mini case study. He said, here you go. He just sharing all the tea. So y'all better drink it up
Well,
and
here's the
learn
thing.
from it.
Here's the thing. Investors don't see this sometimes,
That's
right?
true.
Some of this
Yeah.
stuff is going on behind the scenes, and if you have a good, ideally, you have a good GP or a good sponsor who's got somebody like me on the team who can
Hmm.
kind of jump in and quarterback this and try and solve for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, we had some tough days. There was some look.
We did. Oh
I,
yeah,
I
I
lost I
remember.
lost some hair over that.
It was some. Yeah, I lost some sleep. Yeah, I think we all did. I thought at
Uh,
one point I was gonna have to start checking in guests again.
Yeah, in terms of the turnaround, let's see, one hotel had its best year in its history, and it was open for like 20 years, right? So that hotel had its best year in its history from a top and bottom line perspective, and that was about a 12-month turnaround. The other hotel was on track to have its best year, but it needed a big PIP, so we got out of it kind of just in time. So yeah, I mean, I'd say when I got involved, if you were to sell, you may have gotten back your principal, but that may have been it,
Yeah.
maybe, right? And by the time we got done with it, we were able to return a $5 million profit. Uh,
Hmm.
So, it was a pretty big turnaround, in 18 months. And I think it was the right time to exit, quite
Oh
honestly.
yeah, I agree. Right time to exit. That was my first full cycle outside of corporate. I worked with the full service or third party asset management firm. So, I was a part of acquisitions and dispositions. But that was my first because he was like, this is your first one. I was like, oh yeah, it is outside of corporate, right? And so thank you for being part of it. It's so crazy, it's so ironic, right? Under 30 Gateway. It's just crazy how paths and relationships lead you to things, right? So under 30 Gateway introduced me to hotel ownership, which introduced me to you. And then fast forward like 10, 15 years later, here we're in full circle. and help me with my first disposition, the first full cycle. It's so crazy how life works. You just never know. It's just like this winding path, and you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. Looking forward to continuing to help
The next
you.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, and the next ones and anybody else out
I
there.
so I really want I really want a Candlewood Avid dual brand. That's what IHG told me to get. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get that. And then I really want I don't know, I really want a Hampton Inn or a Spark. That's what I'm eyeing. Or in a Wood Springs. I want a Wood Springs too.
I really like the Candlewood brand. I think it's a strong brand.
I think, yeah.
As much as I like Woodspring, I'm a little nervous about what's going to happen between, Hilton and Marriott creating their economy extended stay brands. I think that's going to squeeze Woodspring, but they have a strong following. So
They have a strong following, and then there's just certain markets that I don't think so, because it's just certain markets that Hilton and Marriott probably won't be in, and that Wood Springs. And the reason why I'm thinking like this, because for some reason I'm on the road a lot. I don't know why, but I'm on the road a lot, and so I'm just looking at all these different hotel types, right, just constantly. And so what pops up, what I see, like, okay, Wood Springs would be great here. I can build a Spark here, because I drive a lot through the country. That's probably why. And so I drive a lot through tertiary markets. And so it's just certain markets that a Marriott probably won't ever, want to be in. But there may be a Spark, maybe if we're lucky, or there may be, a Choice or a Wyndham brand. So that's where I'm at, because I get that a lot. Like, okay, Davon, what's next? You sold it. Those are the brands that I'm looking at, but I'm really focused on Vester, right? So putting more deals on Vester and getting it to the disposition, the full cycle of that one. So that's the next one, right, for me. Um, but as far as the case study, thank you for sharing that and being transparent, because like you mentioned, a lot of folks, they get into the hotel space and they don't want to hire a consultant, right? And I have a book coming out, How to Buy a Hotel, the second edition. And I mentioned to you, I have a whole chapter in making sure that you bring in a consultant, because a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but some people think they won't need to pay for it, right? That, oh, I can do it myself. I've done this. I've been successful in other industries, blah, blah, blah. And no, you want to work with someone who's done it, right? Same thing with Vester. I was like, you know what? I'm good at one thing. I'm good at building teams. Okay. Chat GPT called me the deal architect. I said, ooh, I like that. Don't that have a nice ring? I said, ooh, that's what I do. I'm really good at building teams, and I'm really good at connecting people, right? I'm really good at connecting people. And so, but I know, my strengths, right? So for Vesters, a tech company, right? So I can't do everything by myself. So I need to bring in experts, right? And of course, it's at a cost. Same thing with you. I've recommended you to other hotel owners. And at first, some of them were like, "Oh no, we're not gonna bring a consultant." And they're like, "Wait a minute, Devon, I need you. What these are the issues that I'm having with my hotel. What can we do?" And I'm like, "Hey, you need to call Tommy, right?" Um, you know, folks trying to select a management company. That's probably one of the most important things you can do when you're developing or buying a hotel. That is crucial. That's like, I equate that to you looking for a nanny to watch your child. It is that serious. Like, you're just not gonna let anybody watch your child, right? You're just not gonna do it. And the same thing with your hotel. And I think you and I were really good at selecting management companies. And that's a skill. Some people think, oh, I'm just gonna find a management company. I'm just gonna find an operator. And you're like, you found that wrong operator for that market, right? And now your hotel isn't performing. Going back to the management company and the general manager, point that you mentioned. All of those are just so crucial in making sure that you have a profitable hotel. That's what we talking about, profitable hotel, not just being successful. We want you to be profitable. Ain't that right, Tom?
Yeah, I think you hit on some good points. And what I find is not just a management company, but a brand too, right? So sometimes they'll put all their faith in a management company or a brand, right? And then really just not pay a lot of attention to it, right? And
Mhm.
I think so often if they get somebody involved, like you used to be a consultant, but somebody like me involved in those initial discussions, we can save them from a lot of, heartburn, challenges, whatever,
Mhm.
in the future. But then so often they call and say like, oh my God, I got I say, tell me your problems, and there's like an hour long list of problems, and it's like,
And they come in at the last minute, and I'm like, if
right,
you
like
would
why
have
didn't
just
you
been.
call me 6 months ago? Like
Okay.
this.
Well, you know what, people, I noticed that the people who are doing well are the people that listen, right?
Yeah.
The people who are like, I'll just pay. We have a client, can't wait to share it. Listened, and he was able to get the majority of the development finance as a first time developer. That doesn't happen, right? And I was explaining that to him, like, you're doing something that a lot of seasoned developers take years and decades to get accomplished, right? But when you build the right team and have the right the experts, right? Because everybody, I'm a consultant. And I'm like, well, how many deals have you closed on? What are your results? And Tommy, you have results, right? Um, Proven results. With finding really good deals. You're good at connecting people as well and finding the right people to not only get to the closing table, because that's the first battle. That's the
Yeah,
first battle.
no doubt.
That's like a little battle. It's like, oh, that's the easy part. The hard part is once that bad boy, when you got the keys to it and you find all the nooks and cranny, and you're like, what in the world did I get into? And so you just have somebody just hold your hand to get you through to get you through that process so you can sell. And again, you want to make some money, and also you want to scale, right? You want to scale, and because it's what, 59,000 hotels, God knows how many more are being developed, and there's so much money and there's so much opportunity and so much job growth and career growth in this space. Why not take advantage of it? Now, Tommy, how can people find you?
Yeah, you can go to my website, bhospitalityadvisors.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Tommy Beyer, or you can email me. It's tbeyer, that's Beyer, at bhospitalityadvisors.com. Happy to connect with you, give you a free analysis of your hotel, let you know what I think, and just happy to help you.
So to be clear, you work with folks who are looking to buy or develop a hotel, and you also work with folks who have existing properties already. They need help with repositioning their hotel, correct?
Correct. Can be branded, independent, really the
Okay.
size doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, help you.
Any location specific, it doesn't matter.
No, doesn't matter. I did a pro forma for a guy who's developing a hotel in Ghana the other day. So, yeah.
Nice. So
Um,
you international now,
yeah.
baby. I love it. I'm
Doesn't,
here for it.
yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Tommy, for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in and listening in. If you have any questions, make sure you definitely put it in the comments. We'll come back and answer any questions. We have links in the chat, is links in the description as well. So that way you can contact Tommy or contact myself. I appreciate you all so much for tuning in. Today is the 28th, August 28th, and we'll be back on September 5th, talking about, it's a surprise. That's what we're going to be talking about. But we come on the 5th and 28th of each month. And so we just talk about different topics, hotel ownership, crowdfunding, raising capital, mindset, just different topics. So I appreciate you, Tommy, for tuning in. Thank you all so much for listening in, and we will see you all on the 5th.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.